Okay, I'm just getting everything set up before we get started. We will be starting in about a few minutes. If you are joining me for Yin Yoga, please make sure to have, if you can, a block. And if you don't have a block, you can use something like a book or a pillow to be able to support yourself. Most of the work that we're going to be doing today will be on the floor. So I have my setup here with my mat. If you don't have a mat, you can totally be fine to just lie on your floor. And then I have just a rolled up, thicker blanket. And then I have some pillows as well. And this is all to be able to support you throughout your practice. And if there are any questions that pop up, feel free to leave them on our Facebook. But as you know, this is the 12 p.m. Yin Yoga, and I am Lynn Gallagher. I will be your teacher today. And this is Roots to Rise, specifically with the Free Library of Philadelphia. And Yin Yoga is a practice that focuses more on stretch, lengthening, and working with fascia and connective tissue, more than the rigorous stretching that you might be used to with a vinyasa practice or other styles of practices. And most of what we will be doing will be quite gentle. It's great for helping you reduce some stress, to relax, to just feel more at ease. And that will be the intention for this class today. And if you are joining and you are interested in being of contribution to Roots to Rise, which is a nonprofit organization, we will gladly accept your kind donation in a few different places. So you can find us at rootstorise.org and you can look for the donation button there. You can donate through Facebook, Instagram, and Venmo. So if you are interested in a small donation, you can Venmo at roots2rise. And anything that you contribute will be gladly accepted. We truly appreciate all of your support during this time and hope that all of you are staying safe and healthy. And we will be here for about an hour to allow for you to have some time to settle in, to feel a little bit more bliss, hopefully a little bit more peace. And if you are new to the practice of Yin Yoga, you may notice that it is quite different than what you might be used to. So know that if at any point you become uncomfortable with the practice, like I say in all of my classes, you can always back off a little bit. Just take some inventory of how you're feeling and notice what might be working, what might not be working, and just remind yourself to be compassionate and gentle with yourself. So I'm going to go ahead and get a little bit more set up so that you can see my mat. Like I said, we will be on the floor for the majority of this practice, so you can find a comfortable seat. For me, I am going to sit on my block. I find that it's more comfortable to be just a little bit more upright and rooted. And once you have found a comfortable position, well, the lighting is a little bit strange, you can find your way to an upright seated position. If it feels comfortable for you, you can start to close your eyes or gently rest your gaze below as if you're looking through the floor in front of you. And just start to adjust yourself ever so slightly to allow for the spine to become more upright, as you allow for the roots to be completely grounded and solid, as your sits bones connect to the earth. And allow for your belly to be full in the space in front of you, without having any restriction or holding here. And allow for your shoulders to drop away from your ears. Gently lifting the crown of the head up towards the ceiling. And noticing this long line of energy as you feel whatever it is that you feel in this moment, maybe in your body or in your energy, in your mental space, your physical space. Just take a moment to again notice what may be happening for you. Having an open awareness to any of the sensations or sounds that are in your room or your space. Observing any thoughts in your mind. And noticing if you can gently start to create a space of a little bit more ease. And together we will start to take some inhales and exhales. As you inhale, slowly start to deepen the breath, breathing in through the nose, filling up the belly, filling up the lungs, and then exhale, releasing. Maintaining a smooth, deep, and even breath. Noticing here, as you breathe deeper, there feels like there's any constriction in your breath or your flow. Be more gentle with yourself. Allow these breaths to be at your own pace, and if it's helpful, you may place one hand on your belly, one hand on your heart. We'll take 5 more rounds of breath together, breathing in, breathing out, taking your own time, breathing in, breathing out, and noticing these next 3 rounds of breath as you move with your own pace. Noticing the heartbeat. Maybe it's subtly starting to slow down. Maybe the thoughts in your mind can subtly start to slow down. And one last breath, deepest inhale in, fill up. Let it go. And bringing your hands back down to the tops of your knees if you haven't already. And maybe start to slowly blink open the eyes. And just notice here what may be possible, what might be present, and what you might be curious about for this practice, and have an open awareness to something different, something potentially new for you. So if you are just joining, we will be on our mats. So this will mostly be a floor practice with Yin. So once you find yourself in a comfortable seated position, you'll start to bring your feet together to touch. I just have to adjust my camera here a little bit. And so as you're in your seated position, you'll bring your feet together as if you're in a butterfly. Now, if you have a little bit more discomfort in your hips, or if you're feeling a little bit more tight for maybe sitting around or laying around, you can use either blocks or pillows or blankets, whatever you have available to you right now. So if you need to, you can prop up under your knees a little bit more, so that your knees can have a resting space. And the reason why this is important, especially in Yin Yoga, is that you'll be able to allow your connective tissue to kind of settle in and stretch a little bit more. Really looking to create space, create length, and create a subtle release. So we're not looking to force anything that doesn't feel right. We're looking to feel that subtle opening, that subtle stretch. And you might feel that here in the thighs or the hips. And as you find what feels comfortable for you, you may notice that closing your eyes is helpful to allow for you to sit. And typically within our yin yoga practice, we are in our postures for anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes. So the practice itself does not have as many postures because each one, we are in it for a little bit longer than what we're used to. So if you find that sitting upright is the posture that serves you best, you may remain. Otherwise, you may start to want to lift up out of the side waist and start to fold forward. And then maybe if you'd like to, and you have access to something, you can place a block or a pillow, anything that feels good for you, and you can start to lean forward and place your head down. So on the block, or even on the ground if you're able to reach. And as you remain here in your seated position or folding forward, again, notice those parts of your body where you may start to feel some opening. And though at first it may feel unnatural to remain in the same position for an extended period of time, just allow yourself with an open mind and curiosity to explore this posture in a way that you may have not before. Notice your sits bones as they firmly root down, allowing more openness through the hips. Maintaining that upright seated position, shoulders dropping down and back. And we'll remain here for 2 more full minutes. Keep allowing yourself to settle in. And adjusting mindfully as needed. You can explore the option of sitting upright and folding forward, whatever feels good for you. And then wherever you are, take 5 more full rounds of breath and allow those breaths to be slow, deep, and even. And then slowly, if you are leaning forward, start to come back up to a seated position. And one by one, you'll just start to extend your legs out long in front of you. And then notice here, when you come back into this neutral position, you may feel some subtle difference in your legs, your thighs, your hips. Just notice here what might start to feel a little bit more open or expanded. And you still may have some tightness, which is absolutely normal as well. So with your legs folded, extended out long in front of you, you'll lift your arms up overhead, take a deep inhale. Then as you exhale, you'll fold forward, reaching for wherever your hands land. So that might look like your hands towards your ankles, towards your calves, maybe towards your toes or the floor in front of you. So just explore the level of a fold that you'd like to get. And then again, if you have that block, if you'd like, or a book or a pillow, you can stack the block on top of your thighs as you start to fold forward and allow your head to rest. And this is just giving you a little bit more leverage to be able to lean forward and to support your fold without feeling like you're constricting any breath, without feeling like you're forcing yourself downwards towards the floor. You still want to remain open and expanded in your breath as you're folding forward, then noticing any tightness you might have in the head, neck, or shoulders. And again, we're going to remain here for 3 full minutes. So find the position, the posture here that serves you best. And it may change as time passes. If that's the case for you, just allow yourself to move a little bit more mindfully. And if under your knees are quite tight, you can always bend slightly here at the knee, or again, you can place a blanket under the knees. So just notice whatever feels good for you. And feel free to explore your options. And take 5 more full rounds of breath here in this fold. And then slowly, as you are ready, you'll start to allow yourself to come back up to a neutral position. The legs can be out long. And then we'll start to shift a little bit more here. So you will come on to your belly. So I'm going to move around a little bit here. So as you find a seated or lying down position, you can have a block in front of you. Sorry, I'm gonna have to do this, but. So this is a Sphynx Pose. And as you can see, hopefully, you will be allowing for a block, book, pillow, whatever is here, to support your chin as we rest. So your forearms will be planted down on the mat. Your legs are extended out long behind you. And as you slowly start to find yourself into a comfortable position, you'll notice that the shoulders might tend to creep up towards the ears. If that's happening for you, you'll just tuck the shoulders back as if you're sliding them down the spine. There we go. And then the legs can be extended out long, or you can bend your knees so that you feel a little bit more of a stretch in your low back. If that feels too intense for you, you can always just drop your feet back down to the earth. If you like a little bit more stretch, feel free to keep your knees bent with your toes slightly flexed towards the floor. And so the forearms here are planted down. You're still lifting the crown of the head subtly up towards the ceiling. And last but not least here, you can allow for this block to be a support for you. You can let your eyes rest. Notice the small part of the low back. There may be some tension there. If that's the case, just take a little bit more inventory. Notice if the breath can lengthen, feeling the expansion of the belly. And even noticing the belly button as it presses against the earth. That subtle lift as you inhale. Then as you exhale, you can almost feel yourself suctioning back down towards the earth. And if you do need a little bit more sensation overall with your low back, you can feel free to take your palms off towards the sides of your mat and press yourself up off of your elbows. This would be a seal pose. And that would be quite activating for the low back. So if you do have a little bit more tension and you're not feeling warm enough, you might not want to do that. You can still remain here in this Sphynx pose, keeping the hip bones planted down on the earth. Letting the eyes rest, letting the neck and the chin rest. We'll be here for 2 more full minutes. So allow for yourself to settle in. Notice if anything is taking you out of the practice. You can come back to your subtle, smooth breath. And take 5 more full rounds of breath. And then slowly, if you have a block or something to prop you up, you can start to release it, and then you'll bring your forearms stacked on top of one another in front of you. You can bring the knees to a bend and windshield washer them side to side to just allow for the low back to have some relief here. Then you can drop your head to your forearms to lean into a crocodile pose. This is just to allow for your neck to have some relief, and also to reconnect with your belly breath. And take 3 more full rounds of breath. Fill up the belly, expanding here. And then sigh to release. And then slowly start to extend the hands out long in front of you. And then press back into a child's pose. So here, as you lie in this child's pose, you'll have your forehead planted down. Keep reaching the fingertips towards the front of your mat. And then you'll gently start to press your hips down. Just going to rearrange again. So as you press your hips down towards the earth, you may start to feel that your hips can create contact with your heels. That still feels like too much for you. You can remain in a tabletop position. Or if it even feels better, you can remain on your belly. And as you find your way into a comfortable child's pose, you may notice you want to allow for the knees to go out a little bit wider and the toes together to touch. And then notice your neck again. You may have some tension there. You may feel some tightness there. Just allow yourself to continue to breathe as you feel the belly press against the thighs as you inhale. And if you feel, again, that tension in your neck and you need a little support, you can gently start to shake your head back and forth, opening up the back of the neck, the upper back. And then as you are ready, you can start to walk your fingertips over to the right side of your mat in this child's pose. So you'll feel this expansion through the left side of the body, opening up the left rib cage, the left hip. Continuing to reach through the left fingertips all the way down, pressing the left hip closer to the heels. And if you need to, you can always bring a pillow or a blanket under your head if you start to feel a little bit more tension or tightness. And then you'll start to inhale, bring your hands back through center, and as you exhale, you'll bring your hands over to the opposite side of your mat. So that will be the left side of your mat if you're still with me. And again, you'll feel that expansion here now through the right side of the rib cage. And allow for yourself to feel that full stretch as the right hand and the right fingertips press down into the earth. Feeling the whole extension from the right arm down the right side rib cage to the right hip. Focusing more on bringing that fullest extension of that breath into the right lung, filling up as if that lung could reach towards the right rib cage. The rib cage reaches towards the right side body to feel a full expansion of breath. We'll be here on this side for about 1 more full minute, or about 10 long, deep breaths. 2 more rounds of breath. Slow, deep, and even breaths. And then from your child's pose, you can slowly start to come back up onto hands and knees. So the shoulders will be over the wrists and the hips will be over the knees, and we'll slowly start to take some cat-cows. So as you inhale, you'll just articulate this movement a little bit slower. You'll lift the tailbone, drop the belly, and lift the chin up towards the ceiling. On your exhale, bring your nose back towards your navel, scoop the belly, round the back and spine, and tuck the tailbone under. And we'll do this slowly, rhythmically, to your own pace. Lifting tail, dropping belly, lifting chest and chin, and scooping the belly as you bring the nose towards the navel, tuck the tailbone under. Exhale fully. Take this 8 more times with your own breath. And if you'd like to include a little bit more movement, you can roll the head and neck. You can even start to press back, press forward, whatever feels nice and allows for you to get some expansion in the low back here. Allow for you to have a little bit more fluidity in your neck, your shoulders, and your spine and back. Take 5 more rounds slowly here. And then with your hands towards the center here, you'll bring your left hand towards the center of your mat, lift your right arm up and expand and reach. Reaching the right fingertips up towards the ceiling, planting that left hand down, and then you'll scoop the right arm under, thread the needle. So the right shoulder, the right elbow will be all towards the earth. If you need to, take a block here, place it either under the shoulder or under the head. Again, same thing with the pillow if you need it. So you'll just allow for the side of the face to rest or the shoulder on that block. And so you can expand your left arm out in front of you. Just allowing for a deeper stretch here through the right shoulder. And if you feel like you need a little bit more in terms of intensity here, with the right arm down, left arm in front of you, if you'd like to, you can lift the left leg up to just give yourself a little bit more of a challenge with balance. So you'll be in this thread the needle for about 2 more minutes. Continuing to breathe fully, especially noticing if your breath has been constricted by this subtle twist. About 5 more rounds of breath, slow, deep, and even. And as you're ready, you'll slowly start to unwind. Bring the left hand back down. We'll slowly lift the right arm up. Just get that relief here. Bring the right hand back down. If you'd like to, you can connect this movement with a round of cat-cow. And then you'll bring your right hand towards the middle of your mat. As you inhale, lift and extend the left arm up towards the ceiling. Maybe take the gaze up towards the fingertips. Inhale, lift a little bit further, feel the fullest extension. And then as you exhale, again, thread the needle. So this time, left shoulder can reach towards the earth or a block as you allow for yourself to come down towards the earth. If the head is hanging here, just in space as you start to take this subtle twist, allow for it to be supported by something. So whether that's the block, the blanket, or the pillow for you, you don't want your head to just be hanging directly over the mat. You want it to create some connection so that you're not creating strain, and to allow for yourself to find that rhythm of breath without feeling constricted or forced into any position that doesn't work for you. take 5 more rounds of breath here. Just allow yourself to continue to notice the parts of the body that feel a little bit more expansion. And on your next inhale, start to transition. So slowly start to unwind your left shoulder. Reach your left arm up towards the ceiling. And as you exhale, bring your left hand back down. Take 1 full round of cat-cow. And then if you'd like to, you can extend the legs out long. Take your first and only downward facing dog. And then as you inhale, you'll lift your right leg up towards the ceiling, and then step through into a pigeon pose. So for you, if you can, you'll have your right shin parallel to the top edge of your mat, with the left leg extended out long. And if you'd like to, you can fold forward onto the mat or a block. And if that feels like it's too much for you right now, you can do this in a seated position. So one of 2 ways. You'll look exactly like I do right now, with your right shin parallel to the top of the mat. And then the left thigh is facing down towards the earth. And again, if that's too much for you, you can just bring yourself back into a seated position with the right shin parallel to the front of the mat. And you can bring your left knee stacking on top of your right ankle. So those are 3 options here for you. If you do have a block or a pillow and it feels good for you, you can place that block directly underneath the left knee if it's still kind of hanging in the air. And once you've found a position that works for you, allow yourself to settle in with your breath. If you're in this seated position and you'd like, you can start to fold forward. Again, just find what works and what feels like you can sustain it through the next 3 minutes on this side. And then take 5 more full rounds of breath. Slowly come back up to a seated position. If you're in your seat, if you're in the half pigeon, you can feel free to take a downward facing dog and switch to the other side. Then if you're in this seated position, this time you can extend the legs out long. You can wiggle out your legs a bit if they feel a little bit more restless or a little bit more tight. And then bend your knees so that your left shin is parallel to the top edge of the mat. Bending the right knee. And again, placing the right ankle over the left knee. And again, notice one side might feel a little bit different than the other, and you'll have to adjust with blocks, blankets, or pillows. And again, you're welcome to remain seated or slightly folded forward. Two full minutes here as we start to come down the final moments of our practice together. Reassess where you feel like you are now mentally, physically, emotionally. If you still feel there's tension or a bit of your resistance in your body or mind, notice if you can allow any of that to slip away or to let go of it so that you can remain more present and aware in this moment during your practice. Take 5 more full rounds of breath here. And then slowly, as you're ready, wherever you have landed, you can start to unwind. If you're in that half pigeon again, downward facing dog might feel good for you. you were in the seated position, you can extend your legs out long in front of you. Eventually, you'll make your way to your seat. And you can hug your knees together. Drop your head in between your thighs. Give yourself a big, gentle, but compassionate, strong hug. And then as you are ready, you can find your way down into Shavasana, or your final resting pose or posture. So you can set yourself up however it feels good for you. You can have a blanket, you can have blocks, a pillow. And you'll remain here for about 3.5 minutes. And then as you start to feel complete here, you can gently start to wiggle your toes and your fingertips. Maybe let your head drop from side to side. And as you're ready, you can roll onto your comfortable side in a fetal position. And then eventually coming back up to a comfortable seat with your eyes closed. Your hands resting wherever it resonates with you. Once you find your way back to seated, the eyes resting, we'll end our practice with a final deep round of breath. As you inhale, fill up the belly, fill up the lungs. Sigh and release. I thank you for joining in our practice today, for being here with me, hopefully for being here for yourself, to provide yourself with some relief, some bit of joy, and maybe a beautiful start to the rest of your holiday weekend. Wherever you are, we hope that you're healthy, safe, happy, and free. And again, if you feel called to, please share about these practices that we're offering every weekend, and as well as throughout the week here on Facebook Live or Instagram Live. And if you feel called, please feel free to leave a kind donation so we can continue to run our programming for the community through Roots to Rise. And you can find us again on our Facebook, our Instagram, our website, or our Venmo, all with the name Roots to Rise. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to message us, either here on Facebook or on Instagram. We would love to chat a little bit more with you and get to hear about how you're doing and if there's any specific needs you have for this practice. And thank you all for joining me today. I'll see you soon. Have a great weekend.